Good evening, shoppers. Snowy Mountains Highway. Big pile of horse shit. Big pile of horse shit. And I'd say that must be a boy staking his ground. That's a big pile. But now you know why. Hello, horses. They're pretty tame. They're eating the grass. You can see the ground's pretty soft in here. Plenty of grass. You can see that they've been eating it down. Hello, horses. If you look carefully, I can get up pretty close. They're all pretty friendly. For wild horses, they're pretty friendly. They're young. Healthy. There's a little foal. Hello. No injuries. Now, that's obviously where they've been standing, eating. They seem to like this clover, this little moss plant. They seem to like that. They definitely like the clover. They're right into the clover. It's not really what I would call damage. Drag a hoof. I'm not seeing damage. I'm seeing them eat the introduced clovers. Here's native Bidgie Widgie. This little fellow here. See this seed pod here. That's a little native seed pod called Bidgie Widgie. So he lives around the clumping grasses here. This is the there's another one. This is that vine. It's not prickly, and the Narago people would make with that. They would make a tea, apparently. And there you go. Clumps get a little bit bigger. You can see my hand. So there's evidence of the horses. They've been eating this introduced grass species. They're pretty tame. A lot of people ask me what do I think about the horses in the national park. I've had mixed views. I've been doing a bit of research. I've had a look up Long Plain a couple of times. I've just passed Long Plain now. And my criticism would be that people unfairly single out the horses and they don't think about things like this. Scotch thistle. It's a horrible bloody weed. No one does any weed control up here. Of course, I will. Oh, he's dug in tight. I've got to swap hands. Wow. Not a lot of root, but Scotch thistle. We don't really want this to take a hold up here in the park. I must admit I don't see many Scotch thistle, but there's proof. Just pulled it out. I'll chuck it in the back of the car and get rid of it. But here you go. Popular little grazing is an alpine daisy. The horses certainly haven't killed it, have they? I mean, they've walked on it, they've eaten the clover out amongst it, but they don't seem to like the daisy all that much. It's still quite plentiful. It's a big patch. Alpine daisy, and then these things spread pretty good too, the alpine daisy. And of course, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong in the comments when I post the video up. But clovers, rye, clumping grasses, a bit of phalaris a bit lower down. Not a lot of damage. Another big pile of shit the dark patch there. So in reasonable numbers, I don't really have a problem with horses in the national park. I mean, we've got weeds and we've got pigs and foxes and rabbits. We've got all kinds of feral animals. We've got released dogs. Poor old dingo has to compete with all of that. But I certainly don't think the numbers are anything like they say. I mean, I've just driven from Tumut, and that's the first mob, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, of which one is a foal. That's one little mob, 8 horses, not 40,000. And yeah, you come across this in your car and you might think, crikey, that's a lot of horses, but that's one horse shitting in the same spot over and over again. Probably a boy horse trying to stake out his ground. And yeah, I wouldn't want to hit that in the wet, I gotta say. But you know what? We look around, I'm not seeing any other horses. So yeah, I don't mind horses in the national park, but I actually keep advocating for the simple fact that we need to be honest in how many there are. So we need a proper head count or some kind of data-driven head count. So I certainly don't support the Greens. Kate Fairman said that is one of the Greens upper house members in New South Wales. She wants the shooters to get up in the helicopter and shoot all the horses. That's pretty sick. We've seen how that works out, and gut shots and wounds and slow death. So no, don't support that at all. Shooters, Farmers, Fishers Party do not support that either. So I want a data-driven approach. If you want to make plans for the horses, let's be honest about how many there are first. But fundamentally, look with my own eyes. I've been up Long Plain Creek, I've looked at Powerline Creek. I'm not seeing the damage that's been claimed by the Greens, and I don't really believe the Greens a lot of the time. Their shrill rhetoric is exactly that. It's exaggerated, it's bullshit, and we need to superimpose Snowy 2.0, the maintenance of the road, and the lack of control of weed. So St John's wort is rapidly expanding through the park. Scotch thistle, got to keep that out. Mechanical control, an alternative to Roundup, is the other things we need to consider, because this is a pristine water catchment. But it does have a highway through it. It does have an industrial construction happening in it. So why the hell can't it have a few horses as well? But I also am a strong supporter of protecting the dingo, so I don't want the dingoes harmed. But foxes, pigs, goats, deer, they're really starting to move in, particularly with this prolific grass. So if you're going to whinge about the horses, you first should whinge about the pigs, the deer, the goat and the foxes. And catching, rehoming, relocating horses. Horses are a portable source of protein. So a lot of people actually eat horse meat around the world. I can't say I've ever had it. Well, probably I've had it in a meat pie that I didn't know about. But happy to go on record, I don't have a problem with horses in the national park. There you go, thanks. One last look. Oh, they've come back for the clover. How about that, eh?